In a bid to reduce supply volatility for both small and large cars, Singapore will redistribute the supply of 5-year certificates of entitlement. More COEs will soon be available. Analysts say the one-time adjustment will likely cool prices for the upcoming bids. Starting from the next bidding exercise on the 15th of May, the supply of Category A cars will go up by 24%, and Category B COEs will increase by 15%. The addition will be among some 6,000 expiring 5-year COEs that the Land Transport Authority will redistribute gradually over the next few quarters. The one-off exercise comes as low COE supply propelled recent premiums to record highs.
First, this will help to lessen, but it will not eliminate volatility in supply. There will still be a degree of supply fluctuation due to historical factors and also broader market conditions. Secondly, the long-term upward trend of COE prices due to rising incomes and zero vehicle population growth will not abate.
Addressing questions about the impact that foreign buyers and owners of multiple cars have on higher COE prices, the minister says less than 3% of COEs went to foreigners between July 2020 and December last year, and this has remained stable. The proportion of households owning multiple cars has also declined over the past decade, from almost a fifth to less than 15% now.
So what then is the cause of rising COE prices? Fundamentally, the COE prices reflect demand for a limited supply of COEs. And this is further accentuated or exacerbated by the fact that we are now at a trough in the 10-year cycle of COE supply. Demand in all categories has remained resilient, especially as the economy recovers from post-COVID-19. And incomes have also been rising over the long term.
Which is why, in the grand scheme of things, the adjustment is a rather small one, according to an economist who suggests a more permanent solution.
But in the longer run, I think the policy is worth considering, worth keeping in the drawer. In fact, I think in general, it might be worth thinking about whether some COE supply should be set aside in the coming years to actually be re-injected into low COE supply years to try to even this out a bit more.
Car dealers say the adjustment will likely stabilize prices somewhat, but the effect will be limited.
I can say with this change, maybe the COE bidding price will be cooling down a little bit, but not means that with this change, the COE will be a drop.
Still, Mr. Iswaran says that any complete discussion on COEs must be within the broader context of Singapore's land transport system, of which private cars are only one aspect. And the best way for the government to build an accessible, inclusive and sustainable land transport system is through mass public transport.
So, Deputy Speaker, sir, as we seek to improve the efficiency of the COE system, it is important that we do not lose sight of our goal of becoming a car-light society with accessible and inclusive transport for all Singaporeans. The COE system helps us to make our transport system more sustainable and our living environment better for all.
He says this is part of the country's social compact, and success rests in the commuting choices that every Singaporean makes every day.
Our questions came swiftly following the COE supply announcement. MP Vikram Nair asked if this signals a shift in how the 5-year COE will be handled.
Is this just one-off to deal with the current trough, or is this going to be a change in approach to how the 5-year COEs are dealt with?
The only component that we can deal with certainty is the 5-year COE, and that certainty is only available on a 5-year outlook basis, and that's why we're doing this as a one-off, because it also serves a very important purpose of smoothing the supply from now, especially because now we are more or less in the trough of the 10-year cycle. So it is a good time to look at how we can do some smoothing.
On the transition away from private car ownership, MP Saktiandi Supat asked the Transport Minister about efforts to improve other options for point-to-point services such as taxis and private hire cars.
If we go towards a holistic approach or to car-light strategy and zero growth, how can we improve our PTP, PHC and taxi services? Because the exasperation of Singaporeans on the ground, if they want to move a private car, but they want to wait for taxis and PHCs, and it's not there every single minute when they want to have access to 24 hours of the day at any time, is something that we need to be addressing.
The bottom line is we need to try all measures to enhance the availability of car-like, not car-light, but car-like services. Because what people really value is the flexibility to be able to hop into a car and go to multiple locations in a certain period of time and come back. But it's a waste to have the car sitting in the car park when you're not using it for hours, when you only need it maybe a few hours in a week. That's the crux of it. So we need to find more alternatives, and that's what LTA and MOT are working on. What we can do in terms of more in the P2P sector and the PHCs.
Non-constituency MP Leong Man Wai asked about making car and motorcycle ownership more affordable. The Transport Minister says the government only controls the supply of COEs, not their prices.
Does the member agree that if supply is limited, in fact capped at zero growth, and incomes are rising, that the almost unavoidable conclusion is that the prices must rise?
Deputy Speaker, to answer the Minister, yes, we have to control car population. As a result, we require the COE system to allocate, but they allocate the COEs, limited supply. But however, I think the government should also be careful when prices goes up too fast. I think actually what the discussion today is actually about that. Prices have gone up too much, like the motorcycle COE has gone up multiple times over the last 2 years. So we prefer a lower price.
If I hear you correctly, you accept that the long-term trend in prices must be up. So now your point is more about the rate of change and whether that can be something and be done. So perhaps if I can take the member's second question first, we do not control prices. I think I want to put that categorically on the table because we are not stipulating the price or even a range. The only thing that the government is able to do is settle on the supply, and if there are any mechanics in the system, whether there are reasons to adjust them. That is what we've been doing. How that flows into the market or works through the market is also dependent on demand, as you would know, and finally the price outcome is how the market settles it.